Hi guys, welcome to the next installment of the ST5 series. Now we'll talk about the body of the ST5, or the construction method, I suppose, when it comes to the ST5. The ST5 has a very, very unique look, and it's obviously for a very good reason. Now at Patriot Campers, I'm going to use the word experts when it comes to sheet metal. We've been doing it for a very, very long time. My engineering team is very well versed in sheet metal, and that's really our product of choice. Now, what we've done when it comes to the design of the ST5, I think we've used the best of what's on offer when it comes to common materials. At the moment, you'll see predominantly when it comes to construction of hybrids in caravans, they're made of structure of composite panel. So typically what they'll do is they'll get a composite panel floor, then they'll put on 3 walls, and then they'll put on a roof, and they'll bond it all together, which is fundamentally gluing the whole thing together, and that's the structure, and then they'll fit out internal furniture. Or they'll install the furniture on the floor and then use the furniture as the actual structure to glue the walls to. We've kind of looked at this completely different. I do see there's a lot of companies, Australian-made companies, that are doing that extremely well. There's a lot of imported product that are not doing that well at all, and we see it. You know, when we go north and we're traveling in the remote locations that we travel in, broken drawbars or panels delaminating on vans is something that I see very, very often. The way that we've looked at this is we want to keep the integrity of what's fundamentally a Patriot camper, which is the sheet metal structure. We are using composite panels. We have moved that direction into that world because of their insulation ability, their ability to carry long spans, and obviously keeping the weight down. But this is still a Patriot camper to the core. If you look at the design of the ST5, you're going to see sheet metal in very particular places. And even when you see this form in the panel here, the way this panel's laying over, that's because we're actually using the composite panels as a cladding. We're using it as a skin. There is a full internal frame and an internal structure that makes up the design of the ST5 in aluminium. We stole a lot of ideas, a lot of concepts from the aerospace industry 11 years ago when we developed the very first Patriot camper, using structural mechanical fasteners, using adhesive fasteners, but always keeping the core in aluminium because it is the strongest, lightest product that's possibly available on the market. And again, that's why they still build aircraft out of aluminium, and they don't build them out of fiberglass, and they don't build them out of composite panels, because there is a compromise when it comes to using different materials. Fiberglass is a product that we try as much as possible to steer away from. Even though we have a very thin fiberglass skin on the composite panel, we try and get away from laid up composite products for the issue of weight. Now, when it comes to building a boat, which is what fiberglass is really reserved for, you have a big advantage in that weight in a hole, low center of gravity, helps with the pitching and rolling of a boat, makes for a much more comfortable ride. But when it comes to towing, it's completely the opposite. So we base all of our designs not from the marine industry, but from the aerospace industry, where aluminium is the material of choice. We can achieve much greater structural integrity while keeping the tear weight lower than anything else on the market. For us, we've stuck to what we know. We've created the body, the actual shell of the camper trailer, independently of the chassis. You heard us in the very early days talking a lot about monocoque style construction, where we would consider the reactions of the body when it comes to load to the chassis. And the ST5, we've looked at the chassis as a standalone product, and once again, because we knew what the ability of the trinamic would eventually be, and we're finally there. So the look, when it comes to the Patriot camper, it is very Patriot campers, something I'm extremely proud of, but there's a lot of functionality to the form when it comes to the design. So when you're looking at where you see the rivets are placed, every one of those rivets are doing a very, very particular job when it comes to holding the entire body of the ST5 together. The priority for Patriot campers has always been weight. Now, when it comes to towing, your number one enemy is weight. Physical size doesn't play as big of a part in your ability to explore than weight does. You know, we've proved that in the past with the toy haulers. You can cut trees down, you can build max track bridges, if your vehicle has the capability of towing the trailer. Now, all of this structure and the design that I just spoke to you about has all been with the main focus, the main goal of keeping the tear weight down. This trailer, as you see it behind me, is coming in around 1,750 kilos. By the time we're finished with all the chassis changes I mentioned before, we're probably going to be around 1,800 kilos. And there is nothing in the market of this physical size with these standard features that is anywhere near that sort of weight. And that's something that we're very focused on when it comes to all the Patriot campers products. 2,600 ATM, so you've got a massive, call it 800 to 850 kilos of payload, which is huge. You'll never put that sort of stuff in the trailer. If you need to carry that sort of gear, you definitely need a bigger trailer. Even with some of the accessories that we've got on there, you've got 200 litres of water. We actually did lose a little bit of water capacity during the design or the redesign of the trinamic suspension, because the water tank is actually encapsulated inside of that bulkhead. So it's 100% protected and fully heated, like I said, and that's been a little bit of a compromise. But 200 litres of water, we feel is more than sufficient for this style of camper trailer. So make that a consideration when you're looking at what you want to get out of your towable, because the one thing that's going to hurt your wallet and hurt your ability to get into those remote locations is always going to be weight. The front design of the ST5, again, you're going to hear me say this a lot, but it's very in-fitting of Patriot campers. The front box design, the angle of the man cave that it's adapted that name over the years, has always been for the ability to deflect stone. So we still recommend, if you're traveling gravel roads, you want some sort of stone deflection system at the front. I still carry, I've got those big stupid mud flaps that go on the back of most of my trucks that really annoy the hell out of me, but they protect the trailer. But what this has been designed to do, and again from day one, as the stones come off the back of the car and they hit this angled front box, that they're forced back down. So they're forced back down to the ground, minimises the ability for the stones to bounce back up and smash your back windscreen, which actually, I think, yes, the engineering team, when we were testing the very, very first ST5, when we took the first one out, I had the whole engineering team head out to Fink in, I'm going to say, 2020, I think it was, maybe 21, and they smashed the back windscreen on the MUX that we had to replace. So it does still happen, but we weren't running any sort of stone deflection system. We've gone away from aluminium on the whole front end. When we redesigned Gen 2, we've gone to a UV stable polymer material. What we were finding with the Rhino lining at the front, it wasn't UV stable. It had to be very heavily maintained, but again, chasing those kilos. So we were trying to pull as much weight out of Gen 2 as possible, and we've carried that entire design over to the ST5. Before I open the front box, I'll talk about this new addition. When it comes to the roof lift, which hang around for the end of this video, because I'm going to show you something absolutely amazing when it comes to the roof of the ST5 that we've just finalised this morning. But you can see now that we have an access ladder that leads you right up onto the roof. We actually have now I'm going to call it a gangway that runs straight through the middle of the roof, tread pattern up there on top. So you have full access to walk up and down the roof. You can clean your solar panels or tie down whatever you like on top. Again, I'm going to show you something amazing when it comes to the end of the video. We now have a ladder that folds up to the top, so you have really simple access. You can jump up on the drawbar and then you go straight up the ladder, straight up onto the roof. Very, very, very cool system, and this comes standard now with the ST5. We've increased the roof load capacity from 120 kilos was our first design. We've now gone to a new style of actuator. We have a 250 kilo load rating on the roof. Our new actuators have Bluetooth capability now. If you were ever to run into any issues, when it comes to actuators, a service technician can actually remote into your trailer if you've got a good connection from anywhere in the world and solve any of those issues if you tend to have them. Good thing about the ST5, which I'll forget to say later, but I'll say it now, even in the event that you did have an actuator failure for whatever reason or you lost power, you can manually crank these things, but you have the ability with the ST5, you can still live inside it, you can get inside, you can sleep in the bed, and you can get out with just something that's really, really cool. Drawbar tap at the front, so you have the ability to run a hose off there. We have the gas bottle guards. Now this trailer, I haven't said yet, this is fully loaded. This is ready for my trip. I'm actually leaving at 5 a.m. tomorrow. So you'll see kind of how I load the trailer. You've got twin gas bottle holders. Now with the induction cooktop in the ST5, I'm only carrying one gas bottle holder on the other side. I've actually got all of my floor mats and my big sand pegs in that side, which has worked out really well. We'll see kind of, and about 10 o'clock last night, I kind of just jammed everything in here. So it might not be absolutely perfect, but you can see here, We've moved the light on this model back out to the front of the front box. So we found when we were doing a little bit of R&D, a little bit of testing, when you got the barbecue deployed and the barbecue swings out the front here, you've got plenty of light out the front. You can see I've got packed in here, and this is why this has been dubbed the man cave, I suppose. This is all kind of my gear. I have water hoses. I keep my drills in there, my batteries. I've got a safety grab bag for a boat, which there's a hint on what's coming a little bit later on in this video. I've got some of my fishing gear in the front. Your diesel tank around this side for your Truma system, which I'll talk a little bit later on. And there's your actual reservoir and your pump for the disc brakes. Fire extinguisher is as standard. And now with the new ladder, you don't get the option to put Max Trax on the front, but there is a Max Trax holder at the back. Before we go around the side, I'll talk about the dust suppression system that we've developed for the ST5. You can see here, you've got a really neat little scoop, which forces air into here. The top two panel filters, they pressurise the inside of the actual living quarters, the cabin. And then you've got another two filters underneath here, and they're just standard little filters, something that you should be blowing out on a daily basis. If you're in dusty conditions, if you're on-road conditions, you'd change them as much as you change your air filter in your car. That's probably the way that I explain it to customers. If you're in the situation that you need to blow out the dust filter in your car, well, you definitely need to do your trailer, because you obviously got to keep in mind, a lot of people forget, trailers behind you wherever you go. So if you imagine if you were driving in your car right up the bum of another car in dusty roads, what would happen to the air filter in your engine? It's exactly the same with a camper trailer. But the bottom set of filters, they pressurise the entire rest of the cabin. So you kind of have a fail-safe, I suppose. I was absolutely amazed when we went out to the Simpson Desert with the last model of ST5 on the dust suppression side of this trailer. It is insane. Penetrations into the trailers, windows, doors, hot water, electrical, all of those sorts of things, they are the concern. The body is not the concern. The body's fully sealed. But I think when it comes to any kind of off-road vehicle, the other penetrations is what you've got to be really concerned about. The front window is now actually been deleted for the production models. I really don't see a need for it. There is a lot of ventilation inside. There's obviously a lot of light that can be let inside by opening the canvas, all the side windows, and I really see that as a potential failure point in the future. If a rock was to smash that, that's really going to destroy your trip. You've got a grab handle here, and then on the side down here, you've got the rock sliders, which give you access up onto the roof. And once again, if you need to tie anything down, you can get up and down onto the roof. As you can see, the construction methods in the ST5 are like nothing else that I've seen in our industry. We've adopted a lot from all of these different industries and manufacturing techniques using state-of-the-art equipment and an engineering team with the knowledge that only Patriot Campers has from the testing that we've done throughout the history of the company. In the next video, we're going to run into the kitchen. So we're going to start looking at the kitchen layout, something that I feel like we got right from day one, but we've definitely improved it now, having the real estate in a bigger trailer to improve that storage and functionality. Stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.